It's week 7. After this week, we only have one left, and then our course is done. Welcome back. There's a lot of fun to be had this week. Specifically, we're going to be talking about TPAC. So similar to last week, we talked about, in depth at least, we talked about the SAMR model for technology integration. And TPAC, I would say, kind of works in concert with the SAMR model. So think of 3 different circles, right? A 3-circle Venn diagram, let's say. In one circle, you have pedagogical knowledge. In one circle, you have content knowledge. And in the other circle, you have technology or technological knowledge. There are cross points between all of the different circles, but in that center sweet spot, we have that technological, pedagogical content knowledge, and that's where TPAC comes from. So TPAC is kind of that full understanding of teaching. So it's really putting it all together. Like I said, it's that sweet spot of a lesson where not only am I mastering, the content knowledge that I have out there, and the technology knowledge that we're talking about here as a part of this course, but also just those good teaching practices. So while we may have some lessons that excel in certain areas, they may fall in others. So this is a really important conversation as we think about the tools that we're offering to our students. So I'm going to focus on the technological area of TPAC here just for a moment. One of the things that I'm always really mindful of as I'm looking for resources to share with my students, I always think about what are the students going to do with this? And kind of in the background, I think how much are my students going to like it? And I'll get to that point here in just a second. But when I think about what my students are going to do, I kind of go through the beats of my lesson and I say, okay, well, I need this tool because this tool is going to help me do X, Y, and Z. I know that this tool is the right one because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do, these parts of my lesson. So I know that I have to do, this resource, whatever that might be, or technology is going to enhance my lesson in this regard. So that's kind of the first thing that I'm looking for as I'm working with or trying to find resources online that I know are going to help me. And second off, I always kind of look at, or at least play pretend as that kid in class who may be a little ornery and tries to break the thing, right? So basically, I work backwards from there. So if I can figure out how a student is going to find their way away from what it is that I want them to do, then I can basically preload a lesson with trying to keep them within my bubble. So here's an example. I used to teach an integrated technology class, and the students would come up to me and they would say, hey, I finished with my lesson that I was supposed to do. Can I go on this website? And so I'd walk over, they'd show me the website, and it was called coolmathgames.com. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's look through this thing. And on Cool Math, there are some math games, and then there are some games on there that are just violent and are ridiculous and have absolutely nothing to do with math. And my students loved it because, to me, I'm able to identify that and go, this isn't what it should be. We need to redirect and try one of these other resources. Obviously, I over time built, a place for my students to go that I approved of, so that we wouldn't have to have those conversations. But to unsuspecting teachers, a student can go, hey, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm on this place called Cool Math. It's just math games, right? When really they're out there playing war games and doing all kinds of ridiculous things that have absolutely nothing to do with math. So having that kind of knowledge, or at least trying to think one step ahead of your students is a really important skill, is definitely something that's going to help you in your understanding of TPAC. So we just as teachers understand that content knowledge needs to be a part of it, right? We went to school, we're going to professional developments to learn, some of those more pedagogical types of things. but really having a critical eye and thinking about how technology is going to, kind of push and pull those other circles. Remember, if we're thinking about those giant Venn diagrams, how technology is going to pull those different circles in opposing directions almost, and how we can find tools to bring those all back together. That's really where successful technology integration specialists live. So I'm right there in that center sweet spot. So have that in the back of your mind as we're thinking about TPAC here this week, as well as a whole bunch of other things. So definitely make sure that you're checking out your textbook. We're almost to the end of that as well. And alongside TPAC, we're going to talk about a couple other concepts like personalized learning and how that's changed, especially in light of the 2020-2021 school year, and how that has shifted some things around too. So looking forward to a lot of fun with you this week. I do also want to let you know that this is your last chance to get your final projects in order. So if you have any questions, make sure that you're sending those my way. If you want to send your project over to me so that I can look through them, I'm more than happy to do that for you as well before your final submission, and I can help guide you in different directions that way too. So definitely make sure that you're spending time with your final projects for that too. So we want to make sure that those are in good shape before you actually have to officially submit those. So as always, if you have any questions, please send them my way. Other than that, I'll see you in the discussion forum.